Hey group leaders, Pastor Luke here, and super excited as this is our last video in our series here for group leader training, and this one is on raising your future leaders. And so as we dig into this one here, you've heard throughout these different videos, throughout these training sessions, how I've mentioned assistant leaders, and I've talked about raising others up alongside of you, looking for 3 deep leadership, and also I've mentioned the meeting after the meeting. So before we dig into this, I want you to remember just for a moment to look back at who it was that you were when you started leading a group. And the person that tapped you on the shoulder and asked you to be able to do that alongside of them, they knew that you would one day become an even better leader than you were at that time. And I'm sure you can look back in your spiritual journey and say, you know what, I have grown a lot since I've become a group leader. And you probably praise God that somebody asked you to do that and they invited you into that and how much you have grown since then. That's what we're looking for in others. Let's look at this passage here in Titus. For an overseer must be blameless as one entrusted with God's work, not arrogant, not prone to anger, not a drunkard, not violent, not greedy for gain. Instead, he must be hospitable, devoted to what is good, sensible, upright, devout, self-controlled. He must hold firmly to the faithful message as it has been taught, so that he will be able to give exhortation in such healthy teaching and correct those who speak against it. So again, let's have some realistic expectations on what we're looking for here. We're not looking for somebody to get up on stage and to give a message to people who've been following Jesus for 20 or 30 years. We are, however, looking for somebody who can step alongside you as an assistant group leader to help care for others. And as they get experience doing that, continuing to take a next step from there. We're looking at somebody who can help lead a discussion and facilitate follow-up for that. Somebody who doesn't have to be in charge of the teaching, but instead can come alongside and can press play for a video with some great content that we're helping them select. And it's going to lead to some next steps. People who are going to help others live on mission around that and who is going to look to multiply themselves. What Jesus told us to do with the Great Commandment, which reads, Matthew 22, 37 through 40, Jesus said to him, "Love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your mind. This is the first and greatest commandment. The second is like it. Love your neighbor as yourself. All the law and the prophets depend on these 2 commandments." And so that's what we're looking for people to do well. Do they love the Lord? Do they love others? Can they help others continue to do that? That's a great place that we want to be looking to start with that. Now, beyond that, we want to make sure that they're taking next steps as well. And that they can then invite other people to join them in that journey. Like 1 Corinthians 11:1 says, to follow me as I follow Jesus. Imitate me as I imitate Christ. Now, as they're taking those next steps, you're probably cheering them on along the way, and they're going to be doing the exact same thing to others. And so again, the biggest way that you're going to be able to help raise these future leaders is going to be by hosting that meeting after the meeting. And this is going to start with an invitation to those you tap on the shoulder and say, hey, I see something in you to where you have been consistently growing that I think you could help others do that same thing. And then when you host that meeting after the meeting, these are the things that you're going to touch on. You're going to debrief what happened in the discussion that time. Talk about things that maybe could have gone better. Did somebody monopolize the conversation? How could you have called somebody else out? Or just identify some things that were positive within that as well. Not just red or yellow flags, but also, hey, what were some green flags? Some things that we want to celebrate together. And then you want to identify some specific follow-up from that, whether that is those red, yellow, or green flags. What are something that we heard somebody say that we want to make sure that we follow up with individually? Now, that might include some next steps for some people as well. And then you can review some group training topics from these different sessions that you've been in and say, hey, you know what? I think that we could do a little bit better at fill in the blank here. You want to review what your plan is going to be for the next week so that you guys are on the same page and you know who is going to be leading out in the different parts of your meeting for the next time. And then always discussing some of your potential next steps, whether this is related to the content or trends that you have seen for people in your group. You want to be on the same page with how you're trying to help people take next steps so that you can assign what that follow-up looks like accordingly. telling people what the expectation is going to be, that at this time our group is going to be done, and then I'm going to look to debrief this with others, and inviting others into that strategically, tapping them on the shoulder to say, hey, I see this in you. I would like for you to be a part of this journey with me. Now, as we look at expectations, we've been talking for a long time about what a life-giving group looks like, to where everybody's taking a next step, to where we're on mission every week, and then that we're multiplying. So, from an expectation level here, when we talk about raising future leaders, what would it look like if 30% of our groups were in a given year to raise up a new group leader behind them?